Alright, how we doing, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Wolf, and it's time for the patch notes for the December 11th patch. This is the one everyone was looking forward to. I did do a little bit of a showcase covering some of the cosmetics from beforehand, but I will just scroll up and show you very quickly. They put Vigor and Sylvie in a onesie, which is absolutely beautiful. The Mara skin's pretty cool. I also kind of like the Rhyme skin. The helmet on the Mako skin is absolutely hilarious. And the Helena skin is definitely a choice. So, with that being said, let's have ourselves a read through here and see what they've decided to do. So this was the big patch that everyone was kind of looking forward to as like another reason to play mixed with the Eternal Solo queue, which came out recently, which I'm going to do a video on relatively soon, hopefully. We shall see. But let's see what we've got to talk about, shall we? I haven't read any of this, so this is going to be entirely first time. Alright, quick play experience. As a part of our continued review of existing experiences, we want to take a look at the effectiveness of quick play for some time. Our immediate goal is to ensure the intentions of quick play are preserved without veteran players being made to feel required to play in modes they're not interested in. Yeah, that was the biggest problem, was that like I was seeing so many people get immediately turned off the game because they'd go into quick play and everyone's farming their like marks of fellowship in there, and it just was a terrible experience to learn in. One of the things that they need to also address is making it so that you don't have to do one quest to unlock your mount. Like, the mount needs to be unlocked by default, because what normally seems to happen is that in those quick play games, people would immediately mount up, the new player is immediately left on spawn, and you can tell when someone's literally on their first game as a result of them not having a mount at all, which winds up creating a whole new set of problems. So that's a very easy change, thankfully, but we'll see if it gets implemented at any point. As a result, we've made changes to how marks of fellowship are earned. So this is really nice, but I did see something about with the way they did things. Apparently, it's actually a loss compared to the boxes, but maybe mathematically they made it so that, like, since you can buy as many as you want, the things actually cost a lot more, which would make sense, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll continue to monitor how these changes affect quick play, not just the experience of the mode, but the economy as a whole, as we look at how it affects the progression rate from here. Now, the thing is, they're not going to be able to see that until the reset, which now, considering the event is until January 15th, we now know that the reset is in the second half of January, if not deeper, which is very, very unfortunate. But, you know, we could have had reset in, like, what, 15 days? 10 days? If people didn't bitch about it? Yeah, probably about, like, 5 days, 10 days. Could have been reset instead. I don't know. It's unlikely to be the last change to make to the mode, but we wanted to see the effects of these changes to base our next steps on. Alright, love to see it. Then there's the new event. All of the stuff they added for the new event. The snow piles, which gives you a special ability. You will have to put it on your bar, so just do be wary of that. Then the notice board, which is a thing they're going to be building on as time goes. This is just like an event board where you can see what the most recent thing that's going on is, which is really nice. And then all of the skins and mounts and whatnot here as well. Now, something that people are genuinely curious about, which I don't particularly have an answer to, is whether or not the unlocks for these are going to be that you only have to do them one time to get the skins, or you have to do them on those characters specifically, because it requires you to get to Paragon League. Now, people are curious of if it requires you to get the Paragon League on that character, or just in general. So it might be a scenario where if you're not like 9-character fucking Paragon, you might be locked out of certain skins, which is very unfortunate if that's the case, but also rewarding people who put more time in, so depends how they want to take it. We shall see once we get access to it. Added a recently met tab on the friends list screen. Oh, nice. That's really good. You'll love to see that. Slowly but surely getting QOL features like that. Listing players that have been in the same sessions as you, making it easier to build social connections with players at your level. This is one of the things that genuinely pissed me off so much, because the problem is because of the fellowship code thing they're doing, which is also absurdly stupid. Just let me add someone by their name. It made it so that if you played a match with somebody and like you genuinely liked them and they were a good tank or whatever have you, if you didn't right click like add friend, they would just disappear into the void. You would never see them again. And even if you remembered their name, because the names were allowed to be duplicates, so they didn't have any like overlapping problems with the way the system worked, It made it so they had to use the fellowship codes, I assume, anyway. But as a result of that, you couldn't put somebody's name into the like add friend thing because it doesn't know which one to get. If there's like, Greg 1234 and you try and add Greg, who gets the friend request? All of them, right? So that's why they wound up doing the whole fucking code system. But because of that, there was no way to add anybody if you didn't get their fellowship code before or after the dungeon was like done, or you added them mid dungeon, which this is really nice because now you can actually go back and add those people, which is going to be exceptional for like building a friends list and whatnot. Added rich presents to the player's friends list, letting them see what their friends are up to while playing elsewhere in fellowship. Oh, did they actually finally add the ability to see what people were doing? Oh, thank God, that's so major. Oh, I love that. That is actually genuinely S tier. Like, that is a whole, like, patch in itself. Beautiful. If that's gonna work the way I think it does, which means I can now, like, see if somebody's in a dungeon before I invite them. Oh, so good. So good. Absolutely love to see it. I will say, getting all of this in before the season reset is looking very good. They want to try and make sure that the next reset is as polished as possible, I think. I would hope. Maybe if I reframe my, like, structure here, maybe that's what they're trying to do. Is they've realized that they're just absolutely fucking cooked. So they're going to try and make everything as good as possible for the next reset to try and bring everybody in. And then try and, like, build out from there. We'll see, hopefully. Because if they're doing a male tank, that abates everybody's fears. So then when they come back to Fellowship, if they do, keep in mind it's a big if for a lot of people currently, then they'll have everything they wanted and more. Which is great. Except for the fact that I think they're trying to release the reset around midnight. Which is really not a good play. But, that's how it goes. Alright, added armor categories to item tooltips. This is really nice, actually, as well. So you can see the stat types and stuff. People are going to be really shocked that Vigor is in plate, but that is how it goes. These values have always been present in the item, but haven't been exposed to the tooltips until now. Yeah, we only learned this even existed because of the patch note changes they did the other, like, month there. Which were really nice, but still. Updated the clarity of some UI elements. Updated the UI for strict tier elements, or strict tier select elements. Okay, sure. On the Eternal Matchmaking screen. Now, the Eternal Matchmaking system is, like, very weird. I want to do, like, an independent video on it, but I think they've now got a problem with the Eternal Matchmaking of, like, they technically have, like, 15 queues. Depending on how many tiers, like, Eternal goes up. For how high it can, like, match you. I don't know if it just goes up to 20 and then it just goes to, like, 20 plus. You get whatever key you guys can fucking do. But if not, and each independent like, 1 to 5 section has its own queue, they technically have infinite queues. Oh, yeah, that's a weird realization. Oh, well, anyway, moving on. Progressions, this is a big one. Marks of Fellowship, remove them from quick player reward pool. Now only rewards supplies. Increase the Fellowship rewards to league matches. Now I normally didn't have like a big problem, by the way, just like farming normally. But then again, I was also playing a shit ton. So I was getting a lot of Marks of Fellowship and I tried to avoid the quick play spam as much as possible. I think the only time I did it was during the Halloween event. And after I did it the one time to get my 90 dungeons played for all of the skins, then after that, I had so many fucking marks, I just didn't have any problems. But, this will make it, like, to the point that you don't even have to do that. Because, of course, they're trying to remove that entirely. Which is very good for the game. And it's just a lot better for overall clarity as well for what to do. Like, late game. It was a very weird loop to get to the end game and then realize you needed to do more quick play to be able to actually buy the material boxes that you needed to progress your character and to be able to reroll stuff, which was definitely weird. But, I mean, I don't think that was an intended outcome. That was just the way players optimized it. And that's one of the things that, like, you're always going to have a disconnect between how devs create something with its intent of how it's supposed to go, and then the loopholes players find, right? So, always a push and pull. So, Regular dungeons, 1 mark guaranteed, with a chance of 1 more based on difficulty. Capstones, 2 marks guaranteed. Ransack would therefore drop 3 marks guaranteed. Ransack's a motherfucker, but that's actually quite nice. Eternal. Regular dungeons, 2 marks guaranteed. And marks are also account-wide, so if you're doing a bunch of Eternal stuff with Eternal solo queue now, you will be absolutely chilling in the marks, which is great. 100% chance guaranteed in Eternal 100 plus. I don't know how they expect us to make it to 100 plus. Like, I don't know what builds or like levels of power creep or whatever have you that they're doing to get like extra power. I don't fucking know. But we'll see. It'll be fun when I go and do like my push next season, see how high we can get. Looking forward to it. Direct purchase of ingots, aethers, and godstones at different prices for each rarity level, which is really nice. Now you can just directly buy the purple godstones that you need to reroll endgame weapons, which is very, very nice. Remove time boxes, also very nice. This means you're going to be able to get exactly what you want, which also means that on the next push, people are going to be able to go even faster because not only are they going to be able to reroll exactly what they want, they're also going to have the resources for what they want. So now if you think about it, previously, not only did we not have the information of how to actually play the game, or how the dungeons worked, or whatever have you. I mean, some people did because of the like pre-runs and whatnot, the early accesses, extra early accesses that they were running. Some people had access to those, and then they would push heavily on rank 1. But for a lot of people, they didn't have that. So now, next season, it's going to be very, very different because you don't have to stop the quick play farm at any point, which stopping the quick play farm does take time away from your heavy pushing. And then on top of that, you don't have to get gate kept by the boxes to be able to prog. You can genuinely just play the game and improve your character, which means that the progression next season is actually going to be a lot faster rather than being forcibly gated with daily cooldowns, which will be very, very interesting to see how it goes. Added 48 new nodes to the map tied to the winter's event. You do absolutely love to see this, because this is what I was assuming they would do if they wanted to do like a battle pass kind of thing. But in this case, they technically did. This is like adding like a free battle pass event to the star map system they've set up, which is fantastic. I love it. This is the sort of thing I was hoping they would do, and it's definitely a much better implementation because you can play it on hopefully any character, unless you have to be Paragon on that specific character to get the skin, which like I said, we don't know yet. But this makes it so that in theory, you could do all of those things on 1 or 2 characters, rather than having to go through on the quick play event, or the quick play event, the Halloween event, and do all of the quick plays and or all of the games on every single character to be able to get the unlocks with no trackers, by the way. So that was just always so much fun. Check the vendor every time you come back. Not the greatest of experiences. So thankfully they're innovating on it, and hopefully it should work well. Alright, hero changes. Tariq and Vigor now use mail instead of plate. This will lower their armor stat based off gear. So Vigor got squishier. Well, I guess ignore what I said earlier about Vigor using plate. Also, Tariq got squishier as well, not using plate. Interesting choice. That's because I'm assuming the new tank is going to use plate then. It's the only thing I would assume would make sense here, because that means only Helena is using plate at this point. I would think Vigor would be in cloth, but, you know, each to their own. Ilarion now uses mail instead of leather. Okay, we're turning him into a hunter. Updated the random target sequence to ensure cold snap doesn't stay on the player if they die during the sequence. Okay, sure, whatever that is. But yeah, my guess now is that the two-handed tank that we're getting, that's supposedly like a blood magic tank, I've been told. Well, I don't know if that's like entirely true, but two-handed blood magic plate wearer is like the pieces I'm kind of getting so far. Male blood magic. It's just a blood DK, I think. We'll see. Something along those lines is kind of what I've been told, and like have as a vision right now. So we shall see when they do a full reveal for it. Looking forward to it though. Rhyme fixed an issue where Wrath of Winter would not generate resource orbs if the player wasn't in combat. I love that. Fixed an issue where Rhyme's resource orbs were not scaling correctly when scaled in the HUD edit tool. Yeah, I was having a couple problems with that, so I'm glad that they fixed the issue there. Fixed an issue where grappling arrow wasn't pulling enemies to correct locations across difficult terrain. Dude, it is stairs in this game. The worst issue they had, which thankfully they did fix, was if you used any ground targeted abilities on the stairs, it would just literally fire it at your location. And I had that happen a couple times when I was playing Artios and like hucking fireballs, and it would just drop the fireball on top of me, and I'm like, I swear to God, like I cannot be this mentally ill. So thankfully it was a bug, but it was a very funny one. Which, like I said, it seems to be the way they've built the stairs. That's a lot of the problems. And then a tooltip change for Mako. So dungeons. Oh shit. No, I lost my spot. Oh, dungeons. The winter event itself will spawn a bunch of bosses. It'll add an additional curse, which adds an optional Spirit of Winter boss fight to the dungeon. I don't know if this is going to be on every single one, or like just most dungeons, or whatnot. I don't know. We'll have to see how many. Maybe it's like one per tier, but we'll see. Completing this fight will give players a bonus for the duration of the dungeon and extend the dungeon's timer. Gorn the Avalanche. Defeating him will return him as an ally in subsequent boss fights. This is really cool. So you get like an extra like teammate and whatnot. I wonder how he's going to scale into higher tiers, if he's going to actually be powerful or completely fucking useless. It'll really depend. You can also heal him, I would assume. You could buff him if he's really good. Maybe he's like super strong and people start like buffing the shit out of him. Who knows? Maybe you get like extra clears that aren't possible without this because of the extra added damage he brings. We will have to see. Crumbug the Naughty. Killing him will extend the dungeon timer by 1 minute. Oh, so killing him doesn't extend the dungeon timer? Oh, interesting. Add a chance for subsequent attacks to spawn an explosive wind-up mouse that charges your selected target. So you get extra burst damage to the entire dungeon. So depending where he spawns, if you rush this immediately, you'll be able to clear the entire thing faster. But if you get this like late into the dungeon, it's actually mega bad value because he takes longer to kill. Even though he would extend the dungeon timer by like a minute, it probably wouldn't get you that much value if you did it like late into the dungeon. So definitely one of the things you want to like hunt them down first. And then Era the White Witch. Defeating her will extend it by 3 minutes, causes her to return periodically during the dungeon to protect players in combat. Now this will be more of a high tier thing, I think, because you don't really need like extra defensives until like really high, I don't think, in Eternal, but maybe I'm coping with that because a lot of people are still struggling with the game in general because, you know, 49 million deaths. So just this in general, not only extending it by 3 minutes, making it like not so much guaranteed people are gonna kill her, but like there's just no downside to killing her and you just get the free extra protection buff. We'll have to see if it's just like a flat percentage reduction or if it's like take 1 hit and you like don't take damage from it, because that would be really good too. Like if you hit a mechanic from like an orb, for example, or a blade of Sithril, the damage could just be completely nullified if it's like an absorb 1 hit kind of thing. Or you could also lose that to some like small AoE as well. That's always the bane of those fucking like 1-hit blockers. You just put some like puddle underneath them and all of a sudden it's gone. But General updated the AI system to add padding if they're being crowd controlled or interrupted so they don't immediately start casting the next ability. Oh, thank God. Alright, that's actually a really nice change. So now you're not gonna be instantly like grapple into next spell, which is really nice because that shit was mega annoying. Like if you grappled one of the scholars before the other guy started doing his cast, the second cast would just go off immediately after the grapple ended, which kind of sucked. So really nice to see that changed. Fixed an issue with the opacity system, which will make weapons to not fade in when bosses reset. Certain bosses were like resetting all the time, which was weird. Like we kept resetting the Everdawn boss for some reason. Like there's something broken with him now, but I don't know. Ransack. Fixed an issue where players who would die and are resurrected while attached to the grasping pillar have inconsistent behavior after resurrection. Okay, that's a great bug. Love that. Fix an issue where whatever that is would spawn in the ground. Nice. And then fixed an issue where Wicked Hook was not targeting the closest player. It's not targeting the closest player. Is it supposed to always target the tank? Or like the closest player outside from the tank? Because if that's the case and that was supposed to always target the tank, that boss has just been entirely broken the entire fucking time. Which is crazy. That's like I wonder if they're saying like fixed an issue, which is just like a closet nerf, or like a closet like nerf to the boss but buff to the player base without saying like we made XYZ easier. It's like the same thing with fucking Brog, right? You get him to 75, he returns to 100, you kill him at 100. Whereas they said he's supposed to stay at 75, and they made that change. But that was also after the whole 49 million deaths fucking debacle, which then makes it not so much a bug fix as like we're gonna just nerf him and call it a bug fix and go from there, which is an interesting choice. I'm perfectly fine with them just calling a spade and saying, you know, we nerfed the dungeon rather than saying we fixed a bug where the boss was just absolutely fucking you. But I don't know. But with that being said, I'm going to call it there. That is pretty much the entire patch. Oh, oh, sorry. All in all, a lot of cool stuff. Really like this. If this is exactly what I think it is, we are absolutely cooking for next season. If they can get guilds in place or fellowships in fellowship before the next season, things could look very, very good. I genuinely don't know where they go from here, though. This is the interesting part. Going week to week, I don't know if we see more hero changes, if we see like event bug fixes. It's probably going to be the first round of things that happen. But there's really not a lot of hero changes in this one. There's like a couple things with armor rating and whatnot, meaning certain characters are now squishier. Elarian technically got tankier, and then Tariq and Vigor got squishier from flat armor damage, which means they're gonna die to bolas and stuff easier, which is a bit fucking tragic. If you haven't seen the clip of me getting quad boled on Vigor, it was very fucking funny. But that means it's gonna be 3 bolas to be able to fucking insta kill me. So I don't know, certain changes. But stuff like this genuinely makes me think that they're trying to cram as much QOL as possible, as fast as possible, into Fellowship to then try and hit a big Season 1 reset, so that when they bring people back, they're going to be like, oh shit, all these things are here now, this is awesome, and we've got a new character, which is the male tank that everyone's been clamoring for. So they could hit a really good season reset, which they kind of have to now, given the fact that when they announce a season reset, half to 3/4 of the community just fucking quit immediately. And then the other half, or the other quarter, math, decided, okay, well, I'm going to wait for reset. So they really need to hit the reset because all the casuals are already gone. But with that being said, I'm optimistic for the future, slowly but surely. Coupled with the publisher change, I am looking forward to the current direction. Also, these being free is really, really nice because they could have very easily charged for these as well. So the fact we've now had 2 events with a bunch of free skins, absolutely fantastic.